Every life is a story, every moment a chapter. Here on Slow English Stories, we pause to listen.
Welcome back to Slow English Stories.
Today we have a classic tale.
It's about a girl who might be too clever for her own good.
Or maybe she isn't clever at all.
Let's find out. In a small village, there lived a girl named Elsie. The village was nestled between green hills and dark forests.
She was not like the other girls in the village. Her mind worked in a different way.
Her mother would often speak with great pride. She would say, "My Elsie is so clever. She can see the wind coming up the street, and she can hear the flies coughing."
It was true in a way. Elsie noticed things that others did not.
She could sit for an hour. She would watch the dust dance in a beam of sunlight. She did not just see dust. She saw 1,000 tiny worlds, each with its own story.
She imagined where each particle of dust had come from. Perhaps one was from a forgotten book in a king's library. Perhaps another was from a butterfly's wing in a distant land.
Her world was full of these small, secret stories.
Their home was a large old farmhouse. It was a single, long building. Everything was under one roof.
At one end were the small, dark rooms where the family slept. At the other end was a great, tall door for the wagons and animals.
The space in between was a vast open hall. It was called the deal.
The floor was hard-packed earth. The air smelled of hay, animals, and wood smoke. High above, dried meats and herbs hung in the shadows.
The sounds of cows and chickens were a constant, soft music. Life was loud and open here. There were few secrets and no quiet corners.
For a mind like Elsie's, it was a difficult place to find peace.
Elsie's parents loved her very much. They saw her strange ways as a special gift, not a problem.
They believed her mind saw many possibilities. They thought this was a sign of great prudence and wisdom.
In their time, a young woman's future was marriage. A good wife needed to be sensible and careful. She needed to manage a household and see problems before they happened.
Elsie's parents looked at their daughter. They saw her lost in her thoughts about the future. They thought she was the most sensible girl in the world.
They took her anxiety, and they gave it a new name, cleverness. They were proud of their clever Elsie. They were sure any man would be lucky to have her.
One day, a man did come. His name was Hans. He came from a village far away, over the hills.
He was looking for a wife. Hans was a practical man. His hands were strong from work. His eyes were clear and direct.
He did not see stories in the dust. He saw the work that needed to be done.
He had heard stories about the girl they called Clever Elsie. He was interested, but he had one condition. "I will marry her," he told her father. "But only if she is truly as clever as people say."
Elsie's father smiled. "Oh, she is very clever," he said. Her mother nodded. She added her favorite words. "She can hear the flies coughing."
Hans looked at Elsie. She was sitting quietly at a big wooden table. She was not looking at him. Her eyes were fixed on a corner of the room. A tiny spider was building its web.
She watched the delicate threads. She imagined the perfect, beautiful trap it was creating. She felt a strange sadness for the fly that would one day be caught.
Hans saw her quietness. He thought it was a sign of a serious, thoughtful mind.
He was a simple man. He needed a simple thing, a good, smart wife. Someone to help run his farm and build a life with.
He accepted her parents' stories about her. He could not see inside her mind. He saw a pretty, quiet girl, and he heard that she was clever. For him, that was enough.
He agreed to marry her. This girl who was a stranger to him, and even more of a stranger to herself.
They all sat down for a meal to celebrate. The fire was warm, and the food was good.
After they ate, Elsie's mother turned to her. "Elsie," she said, "go down to the cellar and bring up some more beer."
Elsie nodded and took the jug. She walked away from the warm light of the kitchen. She crossed the great, dark hall, the deal.
The air grew colder. She reached the heavy wooden door to the cellar. She opened it and started down the steep, uneven stone steps.
The candlelight made long, dancing shadows on the damp walls. The cellar smelled of earth, potatoes, and old barrels. It was a quiet, secret place under the noisy house.
She found the large wooden barrel of beer. She placed her jug under the tap. She turned the tap, and the dark beer began to flow. The sound was a slow, steady gurgle in the deep silence.
As she waited, her eyes wandered around the cellar. High on the wall, something caught the candlelight. It was a pickaxe.
A farmer's tool, left there and forgotten. It was stuck between two large stones of the wall. Most people would not have noticed it.
But Elsie saw it, and her mind, as always, began to build a story.
She thought, if I marry Hans and we have a child, a little boy, and when he grows big, we will send him down to this cellar. He will stand right here, where I am standing now. And what if the pickaxe falls? It could fall right on his head. It would kill him.
The thought was not just a thought. It was a picture in her mind. It was as real as the stone walls around her.
She felt a wave of grief, so powerful it took her breath away. It was pain for a child who was not born. It was for a tragedy that had not happened.
But for Elsie, the pain was real. Tears began to stream down her face. She sat down on a stool. She forgot about the beer running from the barrel. And she began to weep.
It was not a quiet cry. It was a loud, heartbreaking sob. It was for the terrible sorrow waiting in her future.
Upstairs in the warm kitchen, the family waited. They waited and waited, but Elsie did not come back.
"I wonder what is keeping her," said the mother. She sent the serving maid down to see.
The maid went down the stone steps. She found a strange sight. The beer was overflowing from the jug. It was making a dark pool on the floor.
Elsie, what is wrong? The maid asked. Oh, cried Elsie. How can I not cry? If I marry Hans and we have a child, that pickaxe will fall and kill him.
The maid looked up at the pickaxe. She did not think it was a strange thing to cry about. She thought it was very wise. What a clever Elsie we have, she said.
She sat down next to Elsie, and she began to cry too. She mourned the death of the child who did not exist.
More time passed. The family was still thirsty. Go and see where they are, said the mother to the farmhand.
The young man went down to the cellar. He found Elsie and the maid crying loudly. The floor was now covered in beer.
He asked them what was wrong. Elsie told him the sad story of the pickaxe and her future son.
The farmhand looked up at the pickaxe. He felt a great sadness for this future tragedy. What a clever Elsie we have, he said. He sat down with them and added his tears to theirs.
Finally, Elsie's mother could wait no longer. She went down herself.
She saw the three of them crying together. She was very worried. What has happened? She asked.
Elsie, between sobs, told her mother about the terrible danger. Her mother looked at the pickaxe. She saw her daughter's foresight. A wave of pride filled her heart.
Oh, what a clever Elsie we have, she declared. And she sat down. She began to weep with all her strength.
Upstairs, Hans sat alone at the table. His patience was ending. His thirst was growing.
Something is wrong, he thought. I must go and see for myself. He stood up and made his way to the cellar.
When he reached the bottom of the steps, he stopped. The scene before him was one of the strangest he had ever seen.
The cellar was flooded with beer. And in the middle of the flood sat his future wife, her mother, and two servants. They were all crying together in a loud chorus of grief.
What is the meaning of this? He asked. Elsie looked up at him, her eyes red with tears. Oh, dear Hans, she said. If we marry, and we have a child, that pickaxe will fall on his head.
Hans looked at the pickaxe. He looked at the four crying people. He listened to the story of a sorrow that lived only in their minds.
He did not see foolishness. He saw something amazing, a mind that could travel into the future and feel the pain of things that had not yet come to pass. He thought this was the very definition of cleverness.
A smile spread across his face. My dear Elsie, he said, his voice full of admiration. More understanding than that is not needed for my household. Because you are so very clever, I will marry you.
He walked through the spilled beer. He took her by the hand and led her up the stairs. And so Hans and clever Elsie were married.
They lived together in Hans's house. One morning, Hans said, Wife, I must go out to work. While I am gone, you must go to our field and cut the corn.
Yes, dear Hans, Elsie said. I will do that. After he left, she prepared some food for herself. She took it with her and walked to the cornfield.
The sun was warm, and the corn stood tall and golden. She stood for a moment, looking at the sea of corn. A question came into her mind. Should I cut the corn first, or should I eat first?
Oh, I will eat first, she thought. That is more pleasant. She sat down and ate her broth. It was good and made her feel warm and full.
When she finished, she looked at the corn again. Another question appeared in her mind. What should I do now, she thought. Should I cut the corn first, or should I sleep first?
Oh, I will sleep first, she thought. I am very comfortable. She lay down in the soft grass between the rows of corn. In a few moments, she was fast asleep.
The sun moved across the sky. Hans came home from his work, tired but satisfied. He looked around for Elsie, but she was not there.
Ah, he thought with a smile. What a clever Elsie I have. She is working so hard that she has forgotten to come home.
He waited, but she did not appear. He walked out to the cornfield to see her work. He found her sleeping peacefully among the tall stalks of corn. Not a single stalk had been cut.
Hans looked at her. He was not angry. He was puzzled. He still believed she was clever. But her cleverness was a strange and mysterious thing.
He did not wake her. He went back to the house. He returned with a fowler's net. It had small, brass bells sewn all around its edge.
Very gently, so as not to wake her, he draped the net over her. Then he went home. He locked the door and sat down to his work.
It was completely dark when Elsie finally woke up. She stood up, feeling confused. With every move she made, there was a soft, jingling sound.
The bells on the net rang with each step she took. The sound was strange and frightening in the deep silence of the night. It did not belong to her.
A terrible thought entered her mind. The sound was so strange, so alien. She began to doubt herself. She whispered into the darkness, "Is it I, or is it not I?"
She did not know the answer. Her own feeling of being herself was suddenly fragile. I will go home, she thought. I will ask Hans. He will know if it is me.
She ran through the dark fields, the bells jingling. She reached her own house and found the door locked. She knocked on the window. "Hans," she called out. "Is Elsie inside?"
From his chair, Hans answered, his voice calm and tired. "Yes," he said. "She is here."
His words fell into the night like stones. For Elsie, the words were a final, terrible judgment.
The identity of Elsie was already inside the house. So the person outside, this lost creature covered in bells, could not be Elsie. She must be someone else.
A quiet horror filled her. She looked at the closed door, a door that was no longer hers. She backed away from the window. "Dear God," she whispered, "then I am not me."
She turned away from the house. She ran from the village. A small, jingling sound in the great darkness. She ran, and she was never seen again.
And that is the story of Clever Elsie.
A strange tale about perception, anxiety, and what it truly means to be clever.
What do you think? Was Elsie clever or just lost in her own thoughts.
Join us next time for another story.
Thanks for listening to Slow English Stories.